what time is it? Your show. Yeah, what time is it? Your show. Yeah, what time is it? Your show. Yeah, he's back from the dead. Your show. Putting it on the map, yeah. Saskatoon. Right next to New York. New York. Yeah, what show, yeah. Your show. What time is it? Your show. Yeah, time to talk some shit, yeah. Your show.
You've tuned in, yeah?
Yeah, fun Maggie. Bark, bark, wolf, wolf, move on to treat, yeah. Keep listening.
Hello and welcome in to the Tuesday edition of your show. I am still Busty and I am still your host, Gary. And this still is the only show, as far as we know, that goes live Monday to Friday, 4 to 5 p.m., scheduled viewing, just like the old TV network days. When you get home, you flip this on because you know it'll always be there for you. And we're so damn proud to say that. Dare I say in Saskatchewan, actually. It's pretty cool to be the only people doing this. As well, we love to make up categories and say we're number one in said categories. For instance, today I can almost guarantee you we are the number one show on YouTube that is being hosted by a fat guy in a sleeveless Macho Man Randy Savage shirt. Oh, yeah. We also have the greatest cam in the history of mankind. That cam being the Maggie Cam. And she is pooped today, let me tell you. Look at that. I always laugh because you have such the majesticness, the beauty of Maggie. And then you get Jake the snake plant over there and he's just like the exact opposite. It's like, man, talk about like worlds colliding here. The Maggie Cam is for our incredible friends over at Pet Planet on 8th Street, your pet's natural grocer. When you walk in those doors, Leroy, who just so happens to be dating Maggie, will take you to the till. You'll say hi to Mike and Rochelle over there, and then your experience keeps getting better from that point. They have the greatest cleaning station in the history of mankind. They also have brand new buckle-up collars, which are the coolest things in the world. You can't see it on Marge right now, but she's wearing hers. She has an amazing Marvel collar with a matching leash. And they have so many cool versions of collar and leash for you to enjoy over at Pet Planet on 8th Street. And I gotta tell you, the best time ever. She'll be showing them all off in a new Adventures with Maggie video, which will be coming up hopefully this week. And you can check them out for yourself. And then when you go in there, you'll know what you want, and it'll be right there ready for you. As well, they're open after hours and on the weekends, thanks to Kirsten, Shar, and Chris. And one more time, that cleaning station is going to be our next adventure with Maggie. We're going to throw her in there so we can show that bad boy off as well. The greatest pet store in the universe is Pet Planet on 8th Street, your pet's natural grocer. Whew, out of breath again. Now, if you're wondering why we're just getting into this, before we got on the air, I got a call from my banker. Hello, Tony, I love you so much. I said, Tony, I'm about to go on the air, but I'll call you back right away. And then I realized, oh yeah, we have a previously recorded segment that we're going to play for you. And all the details are in this, so I'm just going to let it ride. We got LB on the ones and twos today. LB, let's jump right into it, buddy. Today is a very, very, very special day around the studio here. We've been talking about the book, and I keep talking about the author, and I keep saying all these things about what we're doing. And no, I know what you're thinking. We brought in a male model here, but he is not just a male model. He is also said author of this book right here, which is made available today. It is the release day for the book. His name is John Fast. He's my dude, and I talked too much and I ran out of breath. Welcome to the show, big guy. Give me some.
Thank you very much.
I'm very excited. And I think, as I sit here and think to myself, I'm very excited. How are you doing? This is a little bit of an exciting moment for you, hey?
I'm tired, man. It's been a lot of work and it's been a long time coming, but I'm really happy that we finally arrived at today.
It's a beautiful thing, and I talk about it all the time with this studio and how it, as long as you open up to the universe, it always gives back and it always puts you on the right path and it always guides you in the right direction. And that's how you sort of walked into this place. Now you became an incredible part of my life personally. I always tell people, yeah, we're recording a book, but it keeps getting in the way of the awesome conversations we keep having. And then all of a sudden, like, oh no, we're out of time because all we do is flirt with each other the whole time.
I wish you really got a sense of humor somewhere along the way, but it's been a lot of fun, Gary, and I appreciate your efforts and thank you for having me here.
It means the world because this was an idea from the start, was to get a booth that was capable of doing something like getting a book recorded and getting it ready to put out to the world, because audiobooks are a very big thing now. People choose that a lot when it comes to consuming novels and books and all of this information and all this cool stuff, the storytelling. And to finally see what it's like on the other side, it's so incredibly cool for me to be a part of this. And I wanted to thank you personally for that, because I had no idea what it would look like or how it would go. And then you walk in here and right off the bat, we became bros for life. And it's like, okay, well, now I guess we can record a book. And it's sort of what happened in between all the fun we had, right?
It took a while to get the first chapter done, didn't
Cool. And then it didn't take as long to do it again, because I'm pretty sure we had a bunch of those things once we found our niche and we found our zone. It was like, well, I don't want to have that first, part that didn't have that flow to it. So the sort of getting ahead and then going back and, pushing forward. The process of doing all this, what's your thoughts on that?
The process was excellent. Like, I had never done anything like this either. Writing the book was one thing, but recording the audiobook has been, it's been an experience, and I think we definitely got better as we went along.
Yes, we did.
It took a little while to work the kinks out, but it's been good.
It's been fantastic, not just good. It's like I can't stress enough how good this whole process has been for my soul, and that sort of gets into what the book's about. Maybe tell everyone a little bit about what's going on with you. Can't Stop Love, available now, today, on Amazon.
In a nutshell, You Can't Stop Love is the result of the last 31 years of my life. I'm a recovering alcoholic. It was love of my family that really brought me into recovery. And then the people in recovery who loved me back to, I'd like to say sanity, but I think the jury's still out.
Some form of sanity, a little bit, I think, maybe somewhere.
I'm living a much different life today, and I'm full of gratitude for that. And then, what happened to me along the way was, at 12 years sober, I ended up going to the Middle East, and I'm a student of political science and history and conflict resolution. And I went to the Middle East to work in the oil and gas industry, and the first trip changed my life dramatically. I developed a completely different understanding of a different understanding of the events in the Middle East and the people of the world in general. And when I returned from that first trip to Yemen, I ended up in a convention with 50,000 recovering alcoholics, and it was mind-boggling to me that these people who had once lived a life as insane as I had now become the most peaceful, happiest, kindest, most loving people you'd ever want to meet, and they had been restored to sanity. And that's the title of the book, You Can't Stop Love, Restoring the World to Sanity, One Person at a Time. And the whole point is that what happened that transformed their lives happened after they quit drinking, in sobriety. So, if you're not an alcoholic, you don't you won't feel the need to dramatically change your life. But, like if a bunch of alcoholics can do this, why can't we all? It's really that simple. It had really nothing to do with the fact that they drank, because drinking was no longer a problem in their lives. So they went through this major transformation and found a way to live with joy in their hearts. And if a bunch of drunks can do this, why can't we all?
Yeah. And as a guy who just sat here, and I whenever anyone asked about the process, I would say, well, I started reading the book, and then we got ahead of where I was at, so I just said, I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to let him read it to me. So every day we come in here, and I was like sitting like the little kid, legs crossed, sitting down. Well, John sits here with the book and just reads and tells his story. And like so many times throughout the process of recording it, there was so many relatable moments and so many thoughts where I've said, dude, and we would stop in between takes and I would tell you a story about how, yeah, I totally understand what you're saying here. I went through that with this, or my friend did this. Like every single moment of this adventure, this journey that is this book, can be related to by so many different people in so many different ways. And the end goal being, let's be positive, that's that love do the work, is so beautiful to me, because that's what I've been saying forever. And that's how this whole place got started, was, you know, giving back and loving each other and treating people how you want to be treated. It's all here in the book.
The change comes from within, and it's about being honest with ourselves about who we are and what we do. And of course, the thought leads to the action. So if the action is insane, obviously the thought is insane. And so, you know, like I stated at the beginning of the book, the two things that really define insanity for me are addiction and war. And I spent 3 years in Yemen, and then I went to Libya, and then I went to Kuwait, and then I went to Iraq, and then I went to Afghanistan.
Don't forget Somalia. It's so many more. Like, it's crazy. Like your journey is insane to me. This is what I'm trying to get across to everyone.
Well, and this all happened to me in recovery. I mean, and so the principles that I'm applying in my own life to change the principles of sanity and honesty and patience, kindness, tolerance, and love. I'm looking at the world and I'm asking myself, which one of our nations are really embracing those same principles in how they conduct their affairs? And it's a pretty short list. We're living in a world fueled by ego, and I think that's the interesting thing about addiction, is that I was told very, very early in my recovery that it was my ego, the fear, the greed, and the desire of my ego that created within me a need for more. And of course, it was more alcohol in my case.
Absolutely.
But it's this need for more is perfectly obvious to me as I look at what's going on in the world, how certain individuals with the support of major military machines are in pursuit of more. They want more. And it's an addiction. To me, the parallel between the addiction to alcohol and the addiction for more wealth, more sex, more, whatever it is you want, that is the problem. The function of the ego creates within us the need for more. And as Eckhart Tolle points out, and I quote him in the book,
He does.
the only thing that gets us out of that need for more is a spiritual transformation. And you can't have a spiritual transformation and lie to yourself. You have to be brutally honest about your own actions and what you see going on around you. And you know, I used to think that this would be the most boring existence, you know, imaginable, and this has just been a beautiful ride. It's been, and you know, I'm a father now, and a grandfather, and a great grandfather, and you can't stop love. It's just there's just so much of it, and I am bewildered after being in all of these countries around the world, why we continue to treat each other the way we treat each other, and the simple fact that all we have to do to change is choose to do so. There's nothing complicated about this.
No, that's the best takeaway. Is it's so simple. We say it all the time on all of our, like everything we do, we talk about treat others how you want to be treated. The golden rule. And it's always finished with, it's that easy. All it takes is just putting all your stuff, your ego and everything else in the back seat and say, I want to help. What can I do?
Exactly.
That's it.
Can we continue as we have? That's the big question, the spine of the whole book. As we look at everything that's going on in our world, can we continue as we have? And that was a question I asked myself early one morning over 31 years ago. And when I came to the complete conclusion that I was going to be a dead man if I continued living as I have, my life changed. And only because I decided that I wanted it to change. And then I had the courage to go and ask for some help. And I found others like me who love me back to health. But we have, the simple fact of the matter is that the recovery community is active in 177 different countries around the world, and there's millions and millions and millions of us, and it started out as 2 people in 1935. This is a teachable, simple, functional, workable process that anybody can do. All they have to do is decide that they want to and take a look at their lives and the world that we live in and just ask themselves that very simple question. Can we continue as we have?
As a guy who, and I know you can relate to this very much, as we talked about, as a guy who hates being told what to do, who hates being preached at, who hates sitting here while other people tell you what and how to do. None of that ever came across at all during this whole process. And that was one of the things I told you should be so proud of, is getting a message across without ever once making it feel like you're in a pulpit telling people what to do.
More importantly, I think, is that you really get to discover who you really are.
Yeah.
By living this way.
That's
like
it.
the true essence of who you are as a human being comes out. And when we discover who we are at the level of our souls, I mean, our souls aren't violent.
Nope.
Our souls are kind and loving. We have to function on ego to go out into this world and be the destructive creatures that we are sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still bewildered to look at the world and see the destruction. Like, all of our problems are man-made. The environment, the wars, the hatred, the racism, it's all man-made. And all it takes is a choice to make it all different. And while the guys maybe at the top of the food chain who are making billions of dollars off of war, they're the ones controlling our governments. So we may feel like we're helpless, but I really firmly believe that out of the 8 billion souls that are walking on this planet, all we really need to do is wake up. And I think they're scared to death of us.
Oh,
and the
yeah,
last thing
of
they
course.
want is for us to wake up.
Yeah.
And I'm not here to throw anybody under the bus or point any fingers, because each of us have a choice in this. Nobody can tell me, and you just so aptly pointed it out,
Yep.
nobody can tell me what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
That's a choice that I get to make.
Hell yeah, brother.
And if what I'm doing in this world is bringing pain and suffering to other people, I have to hold myself accountable for that. So if I can't imagine what would it be like if each of us did that, like,
Yeah.
just because we do have a choice. We have a choice in everything we do, and by following along with the status quo as we have for a long, long time, and I mean, it's worked. We've built incredible societies.
Yep.
But I think we've hit the turning point. And I'm asking people all over the world in my travels, can we continue as we have? And very, very, very rarely do I encounter anybody who thinks that what's going on right now on a global basis is a good thing.
I'm with you, dude. I know we got to get you out of here. I just want to thank you again for changing my life. And this whole process has been so incredible for my soul, and I'm so grateful. And I just want you to know that you're family here now. So if you ever need anything, this is your studio too, just like everyone else. We got your back. And congratulations. Today, the book, You Can't Stop Love, available now. Doesn't that feel good?
It does.
You
A
did
lot
it, man.
of work. I'm really happy. Thank you,
You did
Gary,
it.
so much.
Hey, and this is not a goodbye. I know you're going to start traveling, but we got plans. You're not going to be too far away. So I'm just very excited for our future as we continue to grow and move forward.
Where's Johnny?
That's a little hint for you. Dude, thank you so much. Congratulations. This is great, and you're the best, bro.
Thank you, man.
Hey, I love you.
I love you too.
That's my dude right there. Again, John Fast, the author of the book, You Can't Stop Love. You can find it now, and the audio version coming very soon, as we've been working on it a lot. And so excited. By the way, if you have a book that you would love to get the audio treatment, it's real easy. Just let us know. Send us an email at contact@dufferinave.com. And then we can go from there and make it happen, because this place is all about doing things you never thought you could ever do, including recording an audiobook. And now we can say, we've sort of done that, which is very, very cool. So let us know if that's something that you would be into or anything else that you want to do. We basically can do anything here. That's what we're learning as the days go by. So many things I thought we would never get into, we not only have gotten into, but we've thrived in all the stuff we're doing, because just like we just talked about, it's all fueled by love, and it's a beautiful thing. As we continue on the Tuesday edition of your show around here, that usually means another episode of the All Out of Angst podcast. This podcast stars two men and this guy, the busty host, along with Uncle Mike and his all-natural products, and Matt from all the bands. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Away!
Bon après-midi, mes amis. Oh, wait a minute. That's us listening to that no effects.
I'm still trying to get over the huge stumble I did on the intro there.
It's
I'm eating
not,
myself alive,
not
boys.
the,
I'm hating
the
myself for that
best one I've ever heard you do.
See, we used to do this individually, and now we decided to get fancy, because we fancy ourselves to be really good at all this stuff that we do. And then you realize, oh, maybe we're not the best in the world. As we were like, no, we'll just have the show be a part of your show, and we'll just take it out of there as its own individual All Out of Angst podcast. And it's fun, because you think that way, and then you hit these different crossroads along the way. And it's like, oh, okay, I guess that. Oh, yeah, okay, that. And then you end up stumbling. Yeah. How's everybody doing?
You know what,
Happy
Gary?
Tuesday.
You stumble, but you get back up.
Hey, that's why we go live, and I say it all the time. That's the beauty of being live, is that we can make mistakes, and it's still not the end of the world, because everyone makes mistakes all the time. That's what life is, bro.
It's an opportunity to just show your perseverance.
Every single time anyone would talk about the old show we did on the radio, they always said, I don't know what it was about your show, but it always had that something. And I always would say, that something is realness, and that's all it is.
I won't lie, like that got me through a lot of days at the city where we'd have rock on, or we'd have it on.
You can say the name, it's fine. It's all good, bro.
But yeah, it was just nice, because again, it's not really the music. You're going to be getting kind of what you're getting as far as music wise, but it was that talking, and you would hear people call in, and they had a genuine connection with you, wanted to share with you, and it did feel like it was everyone's show. And
mistakes were made on the radio all the time. I would stumble over words, and I'd always be like, listen, this is what realness is. So this is how most people operate. We're not all perfectionists.
And kind of along the same lines, Silas was working on a project that he left way too late. He had all Christmas holidays to work on it, and of course left it till Sunday night.
I love that.
It's
That's
dude,
a power move.
That's classic. That's how we all did it, right?
Absolutely.
But he finished it, and I saw him, I guess this morning, because I got back late last night, and I was like, yeah, dude, some things are just going to suck in life, and you just have to embrace the suck, because it's like, you're in it.
Yeah.
You got to get it done. You have to do the assignment, and you just have to do it. Much like the van. It's like, I just had to embrace the suck.
Are we going there? Are we going
I don't know.
Okay, hold on. While you think about that, I will tell you about the one time I remember very clearly. Aiden Bowman Collegiate. By the way, All Out Angst podcast, hanging out with the boys. This is it, and it's so much fun. Grade 12. It was a science fair. So everyone, you got a couple months to do this science fair thing, figure out what you're going to do, and go. And I did not figure out what I was going to do, and I did not go until the morning of the actual science fair inside the gymnasium at Aiden Bowman Collegiate. So I sat there all morning saying, what am I going to do? How am I going to get through this bad boy? And then I went at lunchtime into the library, got one of those big boards that you got to put up behind you, and I made up some bullshit about a goldfish. It was like, I did this test with this goldfish. So I had like a picture of a goldfish, and I just put all these different pictures on this big board, and I wrote out some like garbage story about, yeah, I played music for this goldfish. And it turned like I made up a whole, within like about 4 hours, an entire science project for a science fair, entered it in. And it was probably the greatest 22% I've ever got in my life on anything.
So
I got
you
a lot of
22
fails.
out of it.
Yeah, out of
Nice.
nothing.
See,
I was proud. That was one of my
That
proudest
is
moments.
badass.
So what I'm saying is, whether it's a will, there's a way. You can squeak something. Sure, I didn't pass, but nobody knew that I didn't do anything for 2 months.
For me, I would always go into any of these types of things with like just the most ambition. Like I know one year I was like, okay, I want to make like a mini chairlift, and I know one year I was like, oh, I want to make like a robot that does this, and then I realized not very bright. I wasn't hardworking at the time. I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't have any way to do these things. So then, like always, the day before, it's like, well, we got another volcano of baking soda and vinegar.
Someone called Jurassic Park. This one's out of control.
Yeah. 10 years in a row, and you still haven't figured out the baking soda and vinegar react.
Crazy.
So yeah.
Crazy.
So yeah, I was not really good in the science.
I feel like we've warmed him up for his van story.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I don't think I ever did a science fair. Like maybe in elementary school. What? Like obviously went to the wrong high school because
Dude, trust me,
never even had the opportunity to fail.
They're not for us.
No.
I can tell you that. Science fairs are not for us. They're for my buddy Verno and my really smart, intelligent friends.
LB,
That's who
he
it's
can
for.
do a science
LB
fair.
probably ran a science fair.
Yeah.
Well, he's saying no, but no means yes with him. Yeah. Guaranteed he runs like some sort of underground science fair.
Oh,
Wow, maybe they're going the way of the dodo.
Huh.
Maybe.
Science is no more.
Heritage fair?
Yeah. It's in the fair realm. Yeah.
Sounds like something you pay to enter a museum. Okay.
So the first year I did the synchrotron, and the second year I did the CPR, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
okay.
if you're doing like research on the synchrotron, to me that's
seems pretty
science.
well.
That's fairly sciencey.
But that
Yeah.
wasn't the whole point of it.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Of course.
Apparently, there's a Lego fair this weekend out at Clavette Composite High School.
Shout out to the Lego
Someday.
fair.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming I got
Show off your best Lego
yeah,
build.
I think,
Yeah.
and it's like apparently there's a Lego club in the city, and they have stuff on display.
Did you have a go?
Can we get in touch with these guys? I would love to
We
talk to
could
someone.
try.
about it. Yeah,
I got
That's
sent
so
something
cool.
on the Facebook.
Yeah, do it up. Let's
and
promote 'em.
It was like that's good. I think I might
Sorry,
take the kids there.
I really interrupted you.
Oh no, I was just. Did you have a go-to like when you were making Lego, like a
All
something
the
that you
time.
always made?
Yep,
I
1000%.
have two. I don't know
Yep.
if you guys.
I mean, it's a car, a boat, or a motorcycle. I guess.
But, or a tank,
Well,
or an airplane, but they all had to have guns and missiles.
Oh, for
Yes.
sure. It's every vehicle, and I've still made. I think Silas took it apart, but it has to be color matching. So I
Yeah.
sort of like he's building. He's got this thing built, and I'm still looking for black pieces.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the curve to make it like
You're stockpiling your
aerodynamic.
materials.
Oh yeah, but then you clip on I clip on a wrench and a radio and a gun and
Yeah.
like lights
Getting
and headlights and side like an off-road.
Yeah, dude.
SWAT team, Delta
See,
Force.
now that is
attack
something
vehicle.
that I would love to figure out if that feeling of freedom is still around when you look at a bunch of Legos, because as everyone like Dragon's a huge Lego collector, like a bunch of guys really get into this stuff. But when you look back, like shout out to my grandma and grandpa's place, corner of Isabella and Melrose, I'd go downstairs in that basement, me and my Auntie Susie, shout out to Auntie Susie as well, and we would just build. And it would be just Lego pieces. Because back when we were Lego
right.
guys,
Yes.
it was just, here's a bunch of pieces,
Yep.
build whatever you want. So we would always be building these like big giant tanks with guns and tires and wheels and the whole like fortresses and all this really cool stuff, because your imagination allowed you to go outside of the box. Now everyone's looking at a box trying to get into it. It's like, that's not how you
Yeah,
Lego, bro. Where are you been Legoing or what?
I mean, some of my, and I was like, I did the same thing. I was never into Lego. Like my older brother was into Lego, but and now obviously my son is really into it. And some of the I don't know. I'm really impressed. Like he's got this one tank that is just like
That's
there's
what
a
I'm saying.
turret, there's the cannon, there's And it's like,
Was there a blueprint for it, or was this?
Oh
From
no,
his-
no, this is
That's
all
what I'm
just
saying.
yeah,
See,
and like
that's
the
Lego.
best things he's made have
Yes.
just been
That's cool.
Like
Yeah.
he did an aerial view of the acreage,
So
like
sick.
so with different landmark kind of like
Yeah.
buildings and the houses and whatever.
That's so
The tank, he did a sweet like F-14 or whatever, some type of fighter jet that's just it's like how did you and it's like it color match it, it's not just like
Yeah.
red and blue and pink and like both the wings are the same color. It's like symmetrical and yeah, he's
love
done a
that.
couple other ones. I'm just blown away. It's like, damn, dude,
so
like
cool.
that could be a set, like it looks legit enough to be with like working wing or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like actuation and
Thought went into it.
But
You
yeah,
weren't
and
guided.
imagination. It wasn't like not. It's cool to like go through the instructions.
It's a totally different thing.
Right.
But it is
That's it.
totally a different thing.
Yeah. What was your go-to?
Well, always an automatic weapon, so like either like a Mac 10 or something with like like a clip that would detach, like it always looked like an Uzi. So that was like
course.
would always make one of those, or just like my childhood house, I would just do a replica of that. That's
baller.
It was pretty much just those two things.
A Mac 10.
I-
now, whatever happened to the Mac 10? You don't hear
I know,
much.
it
Well,
about
dude,
it,
he
these
was the
days.
dope crown holder, strung as a Coca-Cola with a chrome pistola. Mac 10 from West Side Connection. Connecting, we be bang, run away. You guys, West Side? No? Is there neither? Dub C, Ice Cube, Mac 10? Oh, boy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But where is it now?
That's a good question. Very
This
good
was the
question.
'90s, I'm assuming, right?
It was. Oh, man. Yeah, West Side Connection, dude. Ooh. That was when Cube departed from NWA, and that was the whole, like, second coming of, like,
Okay.
gangster rap. Like, really, and then Dub C went off when he did his own album. Had a song called Cheddar, and it was so like ring ding 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 pimping it up on the West Side. Like, really good music, man, came from these guys. I can't believe you guys weren't West Side Connection guys.
Honestly, I liked hip hop and stuff, but I was fairly passive listener as far as like
Let me rephrase that. I can believe you were not a hip hop guy. You, not so much. I feel like you might have had a little bit in there.
I was into the gangster portion of it.
That's
and-
what I mean, man. It was the movement. The movement.
But I have no
I-
issues with it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just didn't personally listen to it at the time, and you didn't have access to like every song
I
on
will
the
tell
internet.
you, there's nothing cooler than a very well-off white guy pumping gangster rap in his 1979 Chevrolet baby blue Chevette. Just saying, just like Office Space.
Michael
Yeah,
Bolton.
roll down the window, Michael Bolton. Exactly. Yeah, roll it up and then get back into it. But yeah, that's some good stuff right there. So you were making Mac 10s with your Legos.
That was pretty much it. Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
I feel like I didn't have that much creativity as a kid. Like I feel like my I learned when I was a kid to draw the little like sun in the corner of your photos or whatever. And like once I learned that, every picture I drew in school had that.
Yeah,
It's
sun,
just like
Standard.
You put
once
sunglasses on it?
duh.
Every single
Like,
sun I've ever
How do you know if it's cool?
That's right. Big old sunglasses, a big old smile. I've never once made a sun without sunglasses and a smile. That's sort of like
That's why we
that's
get
our
along.
autograph. Yeah, that's our signature right there. Very, very cool. As we continue, are we ready to talk about the van yet? Do we want to talk about the van?
Sure, yeah,
Update
I
on the
don't know.
van as we've all sort of aired some grievances.
Yeah. I mean, we've danced around it, I guess, long enough here.
Well, I feel like you listening at home and you watching, I guess, at home right now as well. This journey that this Uncle Mike's van has been on has taken on a life of its own. Like it's just there's been and it's so relatable. I want everyone to sort of come together to understand because we've all been there. We've all been through moments like this. But just to get you all caught up, how many months ago? 2 months ago? 3 months ago?
well, July. I mean, when the initial story, like
That's
it's,
crazy.
it's,
Scratch
it's
that.
left,
Scratch
it's
that.
been
Six-
there since the end of July.
Since the end of July, his Volkswagen van has been in Calgary, and he's made numerous attempts to retrieve said van, and none of them were fruitful in any way. And then we get into this past, I guess, literally yesterday.
Yes.
Take us to yesterday, Uncle Mike.
Like Gary said, a few attempts made, catching rides with a buddy. They were uneventful, did not come back with the van. So I decided I need to get this van home just to kind of close the book on this. And the shop kind of wanted it out of their parking lot, whatever. But it was like I need to find time.
Did they charge you at all for 6 months rent?
No,
Thank
it was
God.
on them.
Great
I mean,
people.
right?
Well,
Like they
100% on
were.
them.
make no mistake, we are not blaming anyone here. This is just everyone's being victims of circumstance.
Yeah, and then he even said, like, you know, he's like, yeah, I mean, if you would have needed to leave it, like, we understand we're slow, like, this is kind of on us. It's not, you know, whatever. But for me, I just wanted to, like, okay, let's just get it, because it's hanging over my head. It's like, it's there. I got to figure out, do this, yada, yada. So I found a super cheap flight on WestJet, like $77. Hopped a flight yesterday morning to Calgary. Cab from the airport to the shop was like $53, which is ridiculous, I think, when I can fly to Calgary for $77 and a cab cost me $53. Anyway, make it to the shop. Everything's tickety-boo. Get it warmed up. Say my goodbyes. Thank you. Hit the road. And basically the same spot where I started having issues. You know, I get to about Airdrie, so about a half an hour out of the city. I kind of start losing power again. I'm like, what the hell? So right away, gas station, pull over, you know, take a minute, turn it off, come back out, and now it won't start.
Of course.
So, I mean, I call the shop. Obviously, I was going to call them anyway.
Hold on, what was the first thing you said when you called them?
Not the call I want to be making, guys.
Just for some reference, like, what was the temperature like when you were? It was.
Fortunately, it wasn't
It
that
wasn't too
bad.
bad.
Like, it was. I think Calgary was hitting like a high of 0 or
Okay,
+2 or
yeah,
something
so-
yesterday. I mean, at this point, we were probably right around that 0, -1, +1, like hovering right around 0. So at least it was decent. You know, might have even been warmer with the sun. Anyway, so now I can't even get the van started. Like, ideally, I would just drive it back and either leave it or they would assess and whatever. But now I can't get the thing started. So I'm like, oh, geez. Of course, everything, you know, the last 4 times I've tried to get it is going through my head again as to, like, how am I going to get home? What am I going to do? Am I spending the night? Am I, you know, buying now a $500 flight because it's last minute? Am I going to try and hit up Facebook to try to get a ride or whatever? Let it sit for a bit, you know, stew in all of this for a few minutes, and sure enough, it fires back up. So now I'm, you know, getting it back, like hoping it's not going to die on the way. Get it back to the shop, and I'm just, I think it was over lunch, so it's like, you know, texts were on lunch or whatever. I'm like, well, I'm going to, you know, I'm 4 coffees deep already today. I haven't had anything to eat. I'm going to go walk over a few little, you know, restaurants or whatever in and around the place. Walk over, grab a bite to eat, come back. Ken, the owner, had taken it for a test drive. And, you know, I hop in for a test drive with him. He kind of gives me the rundown. Apparently it was a clip to a fuel injection, like an electrical connection clip that had come loose. There was a loose, like, vacuum hose kind of for the fuel system as well. So things weren't, you know, gas wasn't feeding properly. The electrical connection obviously is going to affect how the injectors work. He assured me that it was good. The idle I was still kind of sketched about because the idle was not as good as it was previously, but it was running. I hesitantly kind of took it again, thinking like, oh my God, I'm going to be back here in an hour again, 2 hours. And yeah, kind of start making my way. It's like, I don't know, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock by now. Thinking I was going to get there, turn around, leave, be home by 6, you know, not driving in the dark, driving when it's still warm out, whatever. Didn't leave Calgary till 3:30, 4 o'clock. Hit the road. So now I'm like, I've got, you know, an hour or 2 of daylight. My headlights suck. I'm kind of tired and whatever. And yeah, just stuck it out. You know, roads were decent, little icy patch, kind of just outside of Oyen, and then hit some super dense fog in or just outside of Rosetown, which is like, oh my God, like, this is not how I want to end the, you know, I've made it this far. Like, I don't want to end up in the ditch now kind of thing. But yeah, rolled home at about 11 o'clock last night. And
So happy
Amanda was pretty happy, you know. I mean, like I said, I was just happy because basically, like, the cheap flight, the reason why it was so cheap, it was a one-way ticket. I bought through a third-party seller. And you can't take a check bag, you can't take a carry-on, you can take one personal item. And so my personal item was like warm clothes jammed into a little, because like if I have to spend the night in the van, right? Like, right?
Gotta stay warm.
Yeah. So So yeah, fortunately didn't have to use any of that. I guess about an hour into the trip, I did lose my stereo. Stopped playing music, and I had found this rehashed CD that it was a double copy. It was like a pre-released version of the album that my buddy had burnt me, before they released the official album with artwork and a case and whatnot. So like, oh sweet, like I haven't heard this in a while because I had lost my other copy, and I put it in, and I think I got 3 seconds of the song, and then the stereo drops out, and it's kind of electrical on the dash. Like I still had lights on the speedometer and the tack and whatnot. Lights, but yeah, my little USB charger and the stereo and interior lights weren't working, and the stereo would come on and then it would come off and then it would come on, and it would a CD takes a few seconds to kind of boot up kind of thing to play music. I think the first time I got about 3 seconds, and then it would turn back on. I was like, oh, it's gonna work. And then it would
just playing with his emotions.
I hear this journey, and I hear the struggle both on the van side and on your side, and all of the factors going into all of this. And the biggest takeaway is, boy, oh boy, did you ever work hard for this incredible story? Did you ever put in the work to get to the point where we can all say the van is home?
Yeah. I mean, when you think, it's been half a year.
Unbelievable, man.
And just the whole audience is behind you wanting
you
this.
want this van home.
Yeah,
yes. It's become a character on the All Out A's podcast.
So when you pulled in that final, whether the garage or its parking spot, and you turn it off, what was going through your mind? Just this can't be real, or
it's like
somebody pinch me.
My back hurts.
I don't know. I was annoyed.
Especially the last probably hour or 2 hours. I mean, the whole trip I was kind of like
grinding,
white knuckling, because the thing is with the van, I wanted to minimize stops in an effort to expedite the trip, right? So I'm not stopping, every gas station to fill up. It's I filled up in Calgary before I left. I filled up in Oyen at the same time. Stopped at the A&W, got my lettuce wrap burger.
That's a great A&W.
Yeah.
Get out of here,
and then trying to eat the friggin' lettuce wrap burger I have to turn on lights, bright lights, because my lights suck. So I'm constantly trying to turn on my brights, but then somebody comes, so I do the respectful thing, turn them off. But then trying to drive, and then it's icy out, so I'm I got the one knee trying to knock my burger, so my burger doesn't end up in my lap.
How much of the burger did you get in your mouth?
Surprisingly, a fair bit.
Nice.
I'm pretty well versed.
Yeah, I pride myself in that too.
Once you have
road warriors.
Not that this is a new vehicle, but you figure out that proper leg placement to kind of hold the wheel sturdy enough.
Yeah. And you kind of use the container to grab lettuce and stuff that sluices through.
Well, this is why I ask, because how often have you done the lettuce wrap while driving? Lettuce wrap alone without movement is impossible.
Well, it's such a gamble, because you're biting away the structural integrity of the thing.
Yeah.
So
every
once
bite loosens the whole thing up,
and then that little
more.
bottom just opens up, and then catastrophic.
Game over. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
over,
trying to do these things, and kind of the thing is with the van, as long as it's running, you just keep going, right? Unless you absolutely need to stop, because you never know if that one time you pull over, it just might not start again.
Yes. This is why God created piss jugs.
Yeah.
Yes.
This exact reason right here.
Well, that's probably why I have kidney issues now, because I hold
just
it for
not
so
going,
long. I can't pull over.
That's it.
But and same thing with the electrical. It was I don't want to. I'm not checking the fuses. I'm not wiggling anything. I don't want to mess anything up, because although it didn't affect the electrical of the van, it very well could have. That I go to do something, and it now is affecting. Right, it's affecting the electrical in the engine, not just in the the instruments or whatever. But it felt great to get it home. I almost lost it on Circle Drive. I drive 600 kilometers, and then get on a Circle Drive. I'm whoa!
Hey!
Rear wheel drive. It's got all seasons, but it's it's not a winter vehicle by any
And
means.
that temperature, if it is hovering around the zero, that's like the slickest.
Yeah,
you know.
well, and by the time like it progressively got
Oh,
colder
of course.
as I came back, and
Closer
so
to our home.
what the roads were, and like that whole highway basically melted, or they had salt on it. They had it was pretty good. But then you come into Saskatoon, obviously it's a little bit colder. Maybe the salt doesn't work as well, or a little bit of skiff of snow and a little bit of ice gives it that little bit of extra sketchiness. But yeah, it was. I mean, I celebrated by.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that is.
What was the celebration?
I-
Tell me how you celebrated. You were just about to say it.
I went to bed. It really was not. I went to bed.
That's a
I
celebration.
got home. And,
We're over 40. Sleeping
yeah.
is a reward.
Celebrate.
I mean,
Pretty sure that's what the song's about. Celebrate. Take a nap.
Yeah, I mean, Amanda was like, by the time I was pulling in the driveway, and Amanda,
Kids, Daddy's home.
Yeah, she said, well, kids were asleep at this
I
point.
guess,
But
yeah.
last time I came home, they were like doing dances in the window. I mean, I was coming home with Colin at that time.
Yeah,
but
give me-
This time she snapped a picture of just this blur of a white. She's like, she sent it to my brother
Yeah.
or whatever, the family kind of thing. Like, he freaking made it finally
he
with
made
the
it.
band.
But
this
honestly,
time.
that's
Dude.
what life is all about right there. Like coming back and having the family welcoming you
Oh.
in and dancing in the window.
You've never felt more loved as a father.
Yeah.
When you're gone for a couple days, especially when it's not like I was on vacation, you know. It's like
you were definitely working.
kind of been, the last couple trips to Calgary. I mean, working and just through, a bit of a pain in the ass.
You're a
kind of
better
thing,
man than
so-
I
Yeah.
would have flipped like 3.
Well, honestly, Matt, and
times
I
ago.
used to break things and punch walls and be destructive, right? And
Now you say serenity now.
right. Well, it's like, what do you do? Like when I sitting at the gas station, it's like, yeah, I could freak out right now, but what's that gonna do? It's gonna cost me more money because I'm gonna smash a window, I'm gonna break, or whatever.
Your
right?
same
I'm gonna-
advice coming back to you where sometimes
Right.
life just sucks.
Yeah, and you just gotta embrace the suck. It's like it will only make you tougher.
That's it, man. You
and
grow from that
And
shit.
it does feel like you have additional confidence when you've completed that goal and you're like,
For sure.
I have
You can
gotten
do anything.
through. Yeah.
You've made it through this. You can make it through anything.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
cool. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I'm
That's-
just, like I said, just happy to be done
Yes.
off my plate for now.
That's it. As we continue here on the Tuesday edition of your show, it is also the weekly episode of the All Out of Angst podcast, starring Uncle Mike and his all natural products, as well as Matt from all the bands. As well, if you ever want to be involved with anything around here, it's real easy. Just send us an email. contact@dufferinav.com. You guys didn't get to play with the writing yet, so I thought I'd throw one more out there for you. That's the email, and you let us know you got show ideas, you got any questions for the boys, any of that stuff. This is here for you, okay? And if you're like me and you don't like technology and you don't like more words, you want less words, maybe you don't like the word contact or the symbol at all, I got great news for you. Take the contact and the at out and you get our website. It's like magic. Look at that, just straight up, dufferinav.com. All the way down, sending it all the way. It's beautiful. Let us know what you got going on, what you need help with, what you want to accomplish. You got dreams you want to chase, any of that stuff. So the AOA is all about the greatest decade in the world, the 90s. We talk about it all the time, the music, the fashion, the TV, the movies, all of it. Nothing was better.
Snap bracelets.
We would be...
Man.
Don't you get me started on those. We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about something involved with that. Go ahead.
Have you ever opened one of those up?
Don't say
like
it.
the-
Don't ruin it for me. Is it like some toxic bullshit in there?
No,
Gonna
it's
murder
just
me?
like, I mean, sometimes
The snap bracelets.
yeah, it's basically like a piece of like measuring tape.
Yeah, I was
you know?
I was gonna say like
or
measuring
just a
tape.
sharp, very sharp piece of metal with a slight curve. Like, yeah, we would like.
We
make-
could have been turning these into shivs the whole
yeah,
time.
I was gonna say we would make
How come
like
nobody-
knives out of them, right?
Get
Because
outta
it's just
here.
like it's a very thin, piece of metal.
Bro.
Not, yeah.
And
But,
they got it all, hidden underneath Backstreet Boys and
Right,
NSYNC,
yeah.
this wholesome
It's like,
stuff.
yeah, you
This is
pull that
really
out,
throwing me
that's-
for a little swerve here. You're telling me that we were smacking weapons on our wrists? We could have been actually, instead of doing this, hey, cool, we could have been like, hey, come here, give me your VHS tapes.
Possibly. I mean, they were rounded at least, but like that edge is, it's a sharp piece of metal. As soon as those things blow apart, it's.
I thought you were going to say it's going to be like a glow stick situation.
Yeah,
so it was
I figured
like,
it was gonna be harmwul
super
chemicals.
poisonous.
And,
Yeah, it's like, oh, here we go again.
Microplastics.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's some of that mixed in there.
There's
as
a little of that
just
too.
for a little-
You know, I will say this. You talk about microplastics and all the stuff that people say is ruining our bodies and our minds and all that from just consuming stuff that's out there. I feel like our beautiful decade of the 90s, there was none of that stuff.
Because it was after the moose phase, right?
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, that was sort of the last time when people created things just to create them, not with the idea of, oh, we're going to create them to break down so often, as in like all your literal, like from your washing machines, dryers, all the way up, all that stuff is all appliances, don't work anymore. You have one, I have a fridge right now inside the ski chalet from the 70s, and it still works perfectly.
And it will work forever.
Yeah.
And, you know, so when I hear stories about having poison in this stuff, like a snap bracelet, it's like, I don't think they were intentionally doing all that stuff back then like they are now. So it's just another reason why the 90s were the best of all time. Right
Well, and it's, legit microplastic. Like, you look at your clothes, and it's like, it used to be cotton and wool.
Yeah.
And now
Now what?
it's, you know...
Apparently we all have like a golf ball sized thing of microplastic in our bodies. Is that true?
I can't imagine we wouldn't.
Right.
Like,
I don't doubt it, you know? I mean, most clothing is made from plastic.
You're
Like,
Mr. All Natural. You're my guy. You're my go-to.
essentially
I really
plastic,
thought those $5 Wish shirts were quality.
Yeah.
Man.
Yep.
So music-wise, there is, did we confirm this weekend, Sum 41 concert coming through?
I believe Saturday, the 18th, I think.
And who's coming with us? Sum 41 and someone
Gob.
else? And Gob.
And
Gob.
Pup, I think. Pup really shows up at every...
Pup.
I mean, I'm not going to go, but they play it at that No Effect show. They played some other opening. I don't know. They're
We
from...
gotta find out who their
PUP,
manager
I
is.
Yeah,
think.
PUP.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Interesting.
wouldn't say they're my
Of course
type
not.
of,
Yeah.
you know,
But
band,
there it is.
What kind of,
you
is it
definitely
like
see them.
the pop punk realm? Or?
Yeah.
Well, sort of with the whole...
Honestly,
That's the
yeah,
problem here,
like it
boys,
was-
and that is the issue with this whole thing, is Gob, like I say it all the time, Soda, one of my favorite songs. I want to jump in the lake. Like,
Oh,
that was
yeah.
punk
Great
rock.
song.
But then Gob eventually turned into the band that was doing songs for Chell, man. You know, like they got on NHL 08 or whatever it is, and all of a sudden Gob is known as this Canadian punk band. But they're playing these soft songs. Like, that's not my Gob, bro. This is my Gob. And Sum 41, same thing. When Sum 41 first came out, dude, they were banging. Like, that was punk rock to the T.
Yeah, when I saw him in 2002, with Blink 182 and Jimmy Eat World and all of the Good Charlotte, all those bands, their set, they did a little bit of Raining Blood. Raining
come
Blood.
on.
They
They
played some
love the
Judas
metal.
Priest.
Yeah, dude,
and,
they
like,
got
it was
songs
just
written about their
fantastic.
love for metal.
And the solos in a lot of those albums are fantastic.
And so when I talk about that, you get your Gob used to go hard, and then you sort of reestablish and you make it, and then you don't have to go hard anymore. Sum 41, same thing. I'm assuming that's what happened with Pup as well. That sort of puts them into their sort of three of a
Yeah.
kind.
I do.
I'm just going over that little sentence. The Gob got to go hard. I don't know. It sounded very intriguing. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, they come in hot like a punk band, and then you say, okay, well, we're not going to be financially successful like this, so you pivot, and then you go make your money,
Right.
and that's good. Everyone knows the stuff that you made your money on, but the people want more of the actual stuff that got you there.
I'd say so rarely with those bands did it work because, you know, you saw like a Green Day or saw an Offspring where they got this huge success and then they kind of got a bit softer and, you know, were making a lot of money. But I feel
And
like
we are not chirping that in any way. Go get your bag. That's all good. Yeah.
But
It's
I
not a
feel
thing
like
about selling
it
out.
did not work for a lot of those bands. I know Face to Face is one band where the first 3 or 4 albums of theirs are just like I will play them every day. But then I think it's Ignorance is Bliss. It was the one and it's
changing.
just really slow. There's none of the punk beat. It's kind of more of that like melancholy vibe.
Yeah.
I know Strung Out did the same thing where they kind of got slow, but now they play almost more like metal, which is cool, but I don't listen to it as much as I should.
Yeah, dude.
The new Sum 41, I actually did, that came out last year. I listened to it quite a few times. I enjoy it. Like there's some bangers, there's some candy stuff, but I just feel like the songwriting speaks to me and that 19-year-old emo kid that I was.
Yeah, still are when you go to bed, right? You still put your guy liner on before you go to sleep.
Well, yeah, like
It's not going to put on itself.
yeah. What if like there's an issue in the middle of the night, which actually does happen a lot of the time at our place.
Did we talk about the
No, we
latest one?
didn't. Do we have a quick
Let's
5
squeeze
minutes?
it in because it's a great
Okay,
story.
so basically to tee it up, me and Aaron have been trying to get a house for, the last few months. We've bid on 3 houses now. All of them we've bid over 10,000 and been outbid. This last one was just over in the exhibition area, and it was like close to Aaron's work. I'd be close to the landfill. It was like kind of the house was a little tired, but it had a lot of character, and like obviously the original owner was like into woodworking, so there was nice like arches and like little finishing details. So we're like, we need this house, we want this house, and I think we overbid like 13 or 14,000, and right before it was like closing or whatever, it's like, yeah, you guys are the top, you guys are right in the mix or whatever. We need a letter from your mortgage broker saying that your funding or financing's good. And we're like, oh, we might have this. And then again, got a call 5 minutes later. So somebody bid, I guess they had a cash down payment where they would have put like, apparently it was too hard to turn down. So whether they had like 100,000 that they just put down as a deposit, like, so even if they didn't bid more than us, whatever we didn't get.
So they just take it, like they don't like, would you like to counter?
No,
or there's no like negotiation. Just like,
yeah, it's just that was, and so like we were pretty upset because we were like, this would have been perfect, and it was like, well, but we'll get our next one. But then the next day, our apartment, we're going to sleep, and then we hear a noise, and then there's like the lights are flickering, and the fuse box is like rattling, like actually like a pretty aggressive sound. So like we go out into the hallway, and our other neighbors there, and the lights like outside of the building are flicking on and off like poltergeist, and we call the landlord, and he's like, you got to turn off the main power. And again, it looks like Jurassic Park, like the main power. It's this big metal bar. And Erin's looking at me. She's like, you got to turn it off. And I'm thinking like I might electrocute myself. And again,
it's going to leave the velociraptors unprotected.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because like after this whole thing, Erin was kind of like, yeah, I was thinking that too. Like you might get electrocuted. I'm like, then why did you ask me? But yeah, either way, when we turned the electricity off, that meant that our heat was now out, and apparently a main fuse had burnt or blown, or so that was the electrical issue. But we were without heat that night, and then in the morning, like Aaron's getting ready, and basically there was one power outlet that did have power, so we had enough to plug in a heater and like her like hair, straightener, and she, so it was just a whole thing. But yeah, it kind of felt like a cruel, like we went from almost having this house to now we're in our apartment with no heat again. And so yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. But we're going to look at a place right after this. So
we
don't
end on negatives.
Yeah, already picking up.
And that's the positive, is that you got another one out of the way.
And we always say, we kind of not like a prayer, but we kind of like, we're like, if this is meant to be, let's let it be. And it clearly wasn't. So
dude, it'll come, and it's gonna make just like Uncle Mike. You're gonna have that moment where you pull up with your van after 6 months of trying to get her home, and you're gonna find it, and you're gonna be sitting there and say, "This is it."
So sweet.
I'm so excited for you for that. Also, by the way, I almost forgot. I keep doing this. You guys have to stay on me more, and I say you guys and the producers, or in the tooth booth. Shout out to Dr. Hausman and Associates. New episode of the #1 show on the network, The Viewing Room, starring Dragon and LB. So cool. They did Spaceballs, and LB put in so much work into this intro. Like, it's so incredibly fantastically done. You know the movie Spaceballs. We got the young kids doing reviews on all these movies, and they always have such great insight, stuff you wouldn't think about at all. And LB went the extra effort. So be sure to check that out during your perusals of things to watch, as The Viewing Room is so good. You'll find it here on the network. LB, you want to give Frank a little kick and wake him up for us?
Dink, dink, dink.
And we're playing, boys. Oh, finally. Hold on, Marge. Everyone's getting up. She's like, oh, it's supper time. Not quite yet. To John Fast, my sweet, beautiful, handsome, majestic author. Finally getting to share what's going on, getting him on the show, and introducing you to him and his incredible book, out now. You can find it on Amazon. Pick up a pre-copy, and then once the audiobook is complete, you will also have a copy of that with the purchase. And it's going to be super duper cool. I saw you just texted me. I'll get back to it. Also, my buddy Ryan Bamford was texting, or actually tried calling. It's like, we get these phone calls still between 4 and 5. I'm like, man, I swear people know that we're on the air. But either way, I was gonna take it live. I was like, we're doing a good thing here. So to Ryan Bamford, I'll call you right away. I'm sure it involves our hockey helps the homeless, which I'm very excited for. So again, check out the book. It's there. You Can't Stop Love is what it's called, and it's so incredibly awesome. Thank you to John for that. To LB on the ones and twos today, love you, buddy. Great job again on Spaceballs. Check that out with him and Dragon together. They are the viewing room. There it is. Look at that. New episodes every Tuesday. How cool is that? To Uncle Mike's van, thank you for finally making it home since July. We've missed you, and we're so grateful to have you back where you belong. We are going to miss those trips with Gibby, though, because those were good trips, eh? Yep. Shout out to Gibby for being a personal valet back and forth for a couple times. We love you, buddy. And to you two jabronis, Uncle Mike, Matt from all the bands, I love you both so unbelievably, incredibly much. You guys complete me in every sense of the word. I'm so grateful to have these all out of angst episodes each and every Tuesday with you. It means the world. And I'm so grateful for that. I just want you guys to know. And to many, many more as we make our way through this crazy thing we call life. You guys are really on it on the piano today. We'll be back tomorrow, 4 p.m. It'll be another episode, or another edition, I guess, of the All the Way Around Table with our friend Coach Number 1 in Melbourne, as well as Curtis Anderson and Coach, 2. Always the best time with those guys, so be sure to head on back for that episode and all the other amazing episodes we have here on the network. Remember, we have a saying here, karma is very, very real, all right? Do good things, they'll start happening to you, and that's how we make this world a better place. I promise you. I love you. Have a great night. Great job, guys.